Hello everyone, Ed, Slow Car Fix. I'm just here with my 6-liter that's going to go in my 1957 Chevy truck. It's a Gen 3 6-liter out of a 2005 Chevy truck. And I've got to clean this thing up and get it ready to install and change the oil pan and do all the things that need to be done to be able to put it in my truck. Okay, so this is my mess. This is my Gen 3 2005 6.0 cast iron block aluminum head 4L80 trans truck engine. It's just an old truck engine out of a scrap truck. It was kind of an unusual truck for around for northern, well, not northern Ontario. It's kind of an unusual truck for Ontario. Was a 2500 HD with 2-wheel drive, which is kind of weird. So this is going in my 57 truck that I've been working on, that I've owned for a while, and I need to prepare it. So what I need to do to get it prepared is I need to pull these manifolds off, because they're got some broken studs and stuff like that, and I kind of want them out of the way for the install. And I need to clean the block and paint the block and stuff like that, clean up the cylinder heads, so these need to come off. I'm probably going to reuse these. I'm not sure if this angle works, if the firewall is going to be right there. I might have to pie cut these. These are cast steel, not cast iron, so I can pie cut them and move this and MIG weld if I have to. If I'm going to use them, I think I am. I'd like to. The other thing that has to go is this truck doesn't have air conditioning, so it's not going to have air conditioning. See, I started to wire brush a little bit there. Just started to wire brush the front of the heads just to get things cleaned up. I'm going to pull the coils off, I believe. The harness is all off this right now because I had that reworked. I'm going to pull the coils off, clean up these coil brackets, paint them, put them back on, clean the valve covers, probably pull the intake, and I believe the intake comes with all these injectors and fuel rails. That'll all come off in like one big honking assembly with the throttle body. So I'll pull them off. I can clean all that. I can clean underneath that then. This idler looks pretty newish. I'm not going to get carried away with doing too much with changing stuff. I believe I'm going to just go with the smaller pulley like I did on my Malibu on the power steering pump. But I'm going to pull this whole assembly off. And I might leave that off for when I install the engine, just so I have clearance and stuff, and then put that on after. I don't know, I haven't decided yet, but that needs to come off and get cleaned up and everything. And then at the minimum, I need to change the pulley on that power steering pump. Yeah, and then I started to wire brush this just to see how it would go. Got to clean that all up, paint the block, as I mentioned probably a couple times. I got to remove all these lines that are coming out of the power steering. I've got the old fuel lines here. I got to remove that. Remove the exhaust that's hanging on there. I think some of these brackets can go. Definitely that one that's over there that holds the exhaust hanger can go. The oil cooler lines can go. I have a TSP, Top Street Performance pan. I'll talk about that. I'm going to try and use my existing radiator that I had for the 57 truck. So my big job is to prep this thing to get it ready to install. So I've been soaking everything. You can see I've got penetrating oil on everything because these fasteners are all corroded. I'm going to try to do this without splitting the transmission from the engine, because I'm by myself and it's easier to do it in one piece, and it's a pain to try and line everything up by yourself, especially when it's not in a truck or anything. And anyway, so I got to figure out what some stuff does. I've got to clean some things up. This is sort of new territory for me with an LS. I did my LS swap on my Malibu, but this all came ready to go and I just put it in. So now I'm getting it ready to go. The exhaust manifolds are off. I still have 2 studs that broke off that I'm trying to get out. This is very common for these things. I've never done it before on these LS engines where you've got to weld the nut on the stud and try and get it out, but it works. You have to have patience, that's for sure. The one that I thought was the easiest one, that was sticking out the furthest, has proved to be the hardest. And I just welded the center of the nut on the advice of my friend that's an actual mechanic. Welded the center of the stud, plug welded it. And this one I think is probably going to come out now. The one on the other side I'm still fighting with. There was one on the other side that was actually recessed in the head, and I built it up with weld, put the nut on it, and then welded the center of the nut, and it walked right out. So it's kind of funny. I took off the engine mounts. I'm going to take off the starter. I think my next thing I'm going to do is pull this intake, put some tape on it, clean all this crap up. I don't think there's too much to... I pulled the coils off. That was easy. I don't think there's too much to pull this intake off, just these bolts here. I've never done this, but I'm going to find out. So then I'll put this over on the bench and then just give this a clean. All I'm doing is just cleaning it and putting it back. I'm not doing anything spectacular with it. The accessories, the same thing. I'm going to take some of them off, clean them, put them back. The air conditioning's coming off. I just cut this line because my tool that I have for this doesn't work very well. So I may have to borrow a friend's tool or do something else to get this off. But I have new fittings and new lines that are going to that. I'm not sure I might replace this line because it does look cruddy. I'll see how bad it actually is. Other than that, I've just got a lot of crap to take off that exhaust hanger bracket. There's a bunch of, I don't know, fuel line brackets over there, all kinds of brackets and stuff that need to come off. So I'll do all that. And the ultimate goal is to get it close to ready to clean up so I can paint the block. I'm just spray painting it with Duplicolor engine paint, satin black, same stuff I used on the firewall on the truck. The rest of it I'm just cleaning. I'm just cleaning, wire brushing, nothing fancy. That should make it presentable. I don't, this isn't a show truck, but I do want it to be presentable because why not? Okay, so I'm going to take this intake off. Okay, so I have some vacuuming to do. Get all this crap out of here before it falls down in the cylinder heads. Yeah. This is not a terribly high mileage engine, but it's certainly not low mileage. It's well used. So I'm going to vacuum this out, tape this off so I don't get any more crap in there, and carry on. These are, I guess, these are the cathedral ports they talk about. A little bit of carbon in there, but I'm not really worried. Okay, I think that's about as stripped down as I'm going to take it. I could pull the water pump off and change the gaskets and change the thermostat, but I don't think I'm going to do that. It was in a perfectly good running truck before. I suppose that's laziness on my part. I don't know, maybe I'll get some water pump gaskets and just change the gaskets, pull it off and clean it. Probably be easier. Anyway, so all the, this was important, all the exhaust studs, 8 out of 12 of them were broken. Probably 3 were broken before I started, and then 8 of them in total were broken. One of them was actually countersunk into the head, so I had to build it up with weld, put a nut on it, and then socket weld the nut to the weld on the stud. There's a couple that were protruding that I thought would be easy, and they were the hardest ones. I had to weld a bolt to it and have a lot of weld on it, a good strong weld, and then let it cool, and then they came out. So they're all out. I have to clean all this crap up. I couldn't get tape to stick, obviously, because it's greasy and dirty, so I'm going to just be careful. And I've got paper towel stuffed in the hole. Be careful not to leave it there. All the little bracketry and all that crap is off. These oil lines will come off because I got to pull the pan. I got to drain it and pull the pan. So I'm probably going to have to lift it up here soon and straighten it out. I'm definitely not pulling the front cover off. I may pull the water pump off just so I can clean it. I might as well, I'm right here. It's just a couple of gaskets, and then I'll throw a new thermostat in it while I'm at it. There you go, decision made. More money spent. This guy here apparently is a line that goes to the throttle body and heats the throttle body for wintertime. So I think I can get rid of that, but I'm not really sure. The Gen 4 in my Malibu is different, so I'm not really sure how that's going to go. I got to look at some different things and see what I got to do. But the goal is to get this thing cleaned up and presentable, paint the block, and then roughly paint the block. Very roughly. This isn't show quality. And then I want to get it, try and get it, work towards getting it in the truck. That won't be on this video. This video is just clean and prep. Hey, today's a new day. Still working on that engine. I've left it soaking in gunk and a whole bunch of stuff to try and degrease it. It's worked out pretty well. I'm gonna have a lot of cleaning to do before I can paint it. And I also need to change the oil pan because a friend of mine's gonna help me maybe in a week or so, and we're gonna try and stick it in the hole. So I have to get all the stuff sort of done and sorted out. Okay, so you can see the heads are cleaned up a bunch. This valley pan or whatever it is cleaned up a bunch. I still have to clean it up more. It's just the caked on stuff that's left. I'm gonna have to clean out the stuff in here if I'm gonna want to paint that. And then, like I said, I've got to hoist the whole thing up. And it's a lot cleaner than it was, but it's not where I want it to be. I've got to hoist the whole thing up. Gonna paint the block with this oil pan on it. and then I've got to take this oil pan off and put the new pan on. It's a shallower pan for ground clearance and stuff. And then I'm into starting to put things back together, I guess. Put the intake back on. I got to get, here's my pile of crap that came off of it. So this won't be used, this air conditioning bracket business. The manifolds probably will. The starter I tested, it works, so I'm going to use it. I'm just going to clean it up. I got to clean the contacts. Power steering pump I removed from the power steering pump adapter. Alternator was charging when it was in the truck, so I'm just going to clean it up and reuse it. I've got the new smaller plastic power steering pulley that's going to go on there that I used on my Malibu. Hopefully that's enough clearance from the from this steering box here. This idler here, it's not very good. It's not happy. It's kind of stuck, so I'm going to replace that one. The other one is newish, wherever it went. It's around here somewhere. Looked kind of newish. Oh, it's still on the water pump. So I put the water pump in here, cleaned it up a bit. Down in that hole is the alternator bracket. That's on the, I guess, the driver's side of the engine. So I'm going to get a new gasket for the water pump, new gasket for the thermostat housing, and a new thermostat. Clean all this up. This guy was pretty good. Yeah, so it's coming along. Lots of cleaning. I'm not sure what I'm doing about this yet. I might take these little brackets off the coils and split this all down and make a little project to paint them, but they don't need to be on it for me to install it next week or whenever. The intake I need to clean up. I am going to have the intake on it for the install. Mostly to keep out foreign material and stuff like that, but I need to clean all this up. That's not a big deal to clean up. I'll just clean it up with actually I'll use this Lysol spray and just clean the outside of it. Yeah, so that'll be good. So right now I need to keep scrubbing. Okay, this mess has quickly got out of hand. There's stuff everywhere. So here's this engine. It's the oil's drained. That bucket doesn't have just oil in it, but the oil that's coming out was clean, used but clean. I gave the block itself a quick spray in black. Looks kind of okay. I just gave it a rough brush, warmed it a little bit, took all the crap off it, warmed it a little bit, and sprayed it black, and it's as good as it needs to be. Up top, everything is as clean as it's going to be. I've drained the oil, got to pull the filter off. Do I need to do that to do the pan? I don't know. Anyways, the pan's coming off because I got to put my other pan on. That's the important part. Okay, so the mess continues. I've removed the oil pan. You can see it's quite a bit taller than I can show you actually. The stock truck pan is quite a bit taller than the new pan that I've got, this TSP pan, Top Street Performance. I'll put the link to everything that I had to buy for this, or not the link, but the part numbers for everything I had to buy for this in the description of the video. I had to buy a valley pan cover. I had to buy a dipstick tube. I bought this Top Street Performance thing. It comes with a pickup. This valley pan cover is this cover here. Apparently I need to notch this one a little bit to go around the oil pickup. Maybe it's at the front. I'm not really sure. I got to see what the problem is, but apparently there's a problem. And then I got the torque specs online. Everything here is torqued. So your best thing to do is to find out what the torque is as per the manufacturer's manual for your specific engine. This one is I think it's 18 foot-pounds for these, 18 foot-pounds for these. I'm pretty sure that's it. And then there's two little guys in the back that are 106 inch-pounds. I'm pretty sure that's it. I got it wrote down. So I'm going to go through, I'm going to pull this off, and then I have to put in that, you see they've got a baffle plate. So I've got to bolt this one in. And I have no idea what I'm doing, and there were no instructions. Fortunately, there's new fasteners. That's kind of nice. It's nice there's new fasteners. So I'm going to go ahead and put those fasteners in, prep this all, get it all ready, pull out that pickup, and start looking at putting in the new valley pan and the new pickup, and then ultimately my new oil pan. It's very fancy. What I've got going on here, I've got the pan removed, I've got the deflector removed, the oil pickup removed. I'm starting to look at what I got to do to install this. So now what I've discovered is that this thing is the windage tray, that pan down there. This is the deflector, the crankshaft oil deflector. Now, I was calling this the windage tray, I was wrong. The one thing, good news, is this engine is actually quite good inside. Everything's clean. It's not all caked with black, crappy stuff looking like it's seen a million miles and no oil changes. It looks reasonably clean for a used engine. From what I can see from the bottom up of the cylinder walls, looks nice and clean, looks exactly the way it should be. I think I'm going to remove this bell housing cover because it may interfere with putting the pan on. I have to clean the gasket surfaces. It may interfere with putting the pan on, and I don't want to screw it up. On these LS engines, apparently this oil pan is a structural member of the engine. So when it's not structurally sound until everything's torqued, it must, because it holds this all together. I'm not really sure. But the deflector tray, this is the F-body one. I think the reason why I had to get a different dipstick and tube was the hole is different, because the dipstick sits in this hole, so I think it's a little different. What you can do, and I've just watched a bunch of videos on, people cut these ones down to this size. That seems logical, seems like a good affordable way to do it. I bought this, so I already have it, so I'm going to use it. Now, one of the things that it mentioned was that maybe this pickup wouldn't sit flush, and maybe you might have to put a relief in here like this to allow this to sit flush. But when I mocked it up quick, it looks like it sits flush. So I'm going to put everything up and torque it in, or tighten it into place, and see how it looks and see if I do have to put that relief. I don't think I do. It says you may have to, so I'm not thinking that I have to do that right yet, but we will see. So I'll put that up in place and see what it looks like, and then I'll show you where I'm at. Another interesting thing is the stock pickup only has one retainer, one fastener. This one has two, which is kind of nice. I don't know why that matters, but it's kind of nice. It'll sit flush and even. You can see that one's quite a bit taller than this one, which is why it needs to be replaced. I need to wipe all this down before I put it in. So I'm going to do that, and I will install this and see how that goes. Okay, I didn't have to install it. I didn't have to modify it. So now that this pan's installed, it's not torqued yet, and I installed the pickup tube. It's not touching the tray anywhere. There's clearance everywhere. So, and it's sitting relatively flush. It's a little off, but it's relatively flush. And I tried it on the stock one with that hole relieved, and there was no difference there. It sat the exact same way it is right now. So I think that's fine. I rotated the crank to see that nothing's hitting that tray. Everything looks fine. So I'm going to torque that, remove that back cover, clean this, and get ready for installing the pan. Okay, here we are. Signed, sealed, delivered. The pan is on, torqued. This little filtery guy thing for adapter for oil cooler lines or for an oil pressure sender or whatever, that's all torqued. The thing for the filter is torqued. Everything's torqued. The flywheel cover, torque converter cover, whatever you want to call it, it's torqued. I just need to reassemble. Dipstick tube is in. I need to keep on keeping on and reassemble. I can talk to my buddy tomorrow and see if I can get some water pump gaskets and get rid of some of this crap that's got to go to the scrap. And then I can look at putting the intake on and dress the front of the engine again and get it ready to install. I think that'll be good. Still trying to decide what I'm going to do with those exhaust manifolds, but I don't think I can decide any of that until the engine's in the hole. So what's left for this video is to put on the engine mounts. I painted the clamshells, put on the engine mount adapters, put on the small block Chevy clamshells, put on the alternator housing, the water pump, then alternator housing, power steering pump, and intake, that sort of stuff. Put some oil in it, that'd be good. And then I think it's pretty well ready to stick in the hole. So, I don't know, another few hours each night, and I will have it ready to stick in the hole. And I'll show you what that looks like before it goes in there. Okay, I've prepped this engine as much as I'm going to prep it before install. I've decided that I'm going to leave the intake off because it'll give me more headroom with the, and I won't break it with this chain contraption thing that I've got going on. So the intake is off. I've mostly cleaned it, been working on cleaning it. I'll put that on when it's in the truck. I will also do the wiring and put the coils back on when it's in the truck. When I did my Malibu, I had everything ready to almost to run. And then put it all in at the same time, and I was worried about wires and all kinds of things and breaking the intake. And I have these ICT brackets installed with the factory, well, not factory to this truck, but it is GM factory, with the small block Chevy clamshells. So they will fit on the Camaro subframe that's in the front of that truck. I put it on the ICT brackets, the second hole from the back. I measured it. And that's actually what I have on my Malibu as well. And I measured it on this, and everything should be fine, clearance-wise. The oil pan is on, torqued, all that's good. There's no oil in it yet. I got to do that. Oil filter's on, and it's full. The water pump, I changed water pump gaskets, changed the thermostat, changed thermostat gaskets. I'm not going to put the alternator on until it's in, because I've got a friend coming for a little bit to help me set it in, but I only have a short period of time to actually get it in the truck. So when I do that, when it's in the truck, then I'll put on this front bracket with the power steering pump. I've cleaned up and painted the power steering pump, just backyard respray. And I'm going to try and put that power steering pump on with the smaller pulley like I did on the Malibu, and then I'll put the alternator on, and I will show like an update on everything installed. When the engine's in, I will go through and do a video of dressing it. and getting it ready to run. But I think at this point it's probably close enough that I'm going to set it in the truck. Okay, thanks everyone for watching. The big thing here was cleaning, I guess, and very carefully replacing the oil pan with the shorter deck height oil pan, and all the intricacies of doing that job. Other than that, I think I'm pretty much good to go. It wasn't that complicated, just cleaning and cleaning and cleaning and more cleaning. That's the problem when you get used engines and you're trying to make them look nice. But this does look like it's going to be a good one. It ran good when it was in the truck that it was in, and it still looks to be, like internally, it looks pretty good from what I've seen. So it'll be what it'll be. And the nice thing about these things is once the truck is swapped, if the engine's no good, I can just get another junkyard engine. That's not as big of a deal. The expensive part is the harness and the fuel system and all the things that people don't think about when they're thinking LS swaps. They think, oh, well, I can just buy an engine for $1,500 or whatever, $500, you know, whatever you can get one for. People think, oh, well, I'll just do that and drop it in. Well, you can drop it in, but then it doesn't work. You still have to, you know, like I think the harness and the computer and everything is like $1,000 by the time you're done. This is Canadian dollars. And you know, I'm over $1,200 into my fuel system. So, and I haven't done anything yet. But the nice thing is, if the engine is, for whatever reason, I drive it for a summer and it blows up, or I blow it up or whatever, I can get another one, drop it in. I don't even need to rebuild this one. I can just grab another used engine that's, it's nice to see them running, which I did with this one. And then the truck is already swapped. So it's just, it's really just an engine swap at that point. It's just pull it out, put it back in, plug everything in. As long as I get the same configuration. Okay, thanks for watching. And please check out my other videos on this project and all my other projects. And if you like to, please subscribe, hit the notification bell. It doesn't cost anything. It does just let you know when my videos are coming up. And it supports the channel and lets me know that you're interested. Feel free to drop a comment. Tell me all the things I'm doing wrong, because there's probably lots. And yeah, hope everyone's doing well. Thanks for watching.